So, Doctor, thank you for joining me today. I love Spamalot, so I'm super excited to have you on.
Oh God, I'm
And so,
excited.
for the first part, can you please explain a little bit about yourself for those who don't know who you are?
Yeah, so my name is Amanda Robles. I've been a professional actress for about 15 years. I graduated from University of the Arts, and I was doing a lot of theater in Philly and a lot of things regionally before COVID hit. And then I moved to corporate for a few years and was slowly getting back into auditioning. I would do like a contract here and there regionally. But this is kind of my first big thing post COVID. So we're really excited to just, get back into what I feel like, what is my passion and is, what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm
And with
excited.
such a fun show as well, I mean, Spamalot is so much fun, and your character is so much fun as well. So, like, this is like the perfect show to get back into the swing
It
of.
is. It was definitely a dream role. So when I got it, I was, it was a definite yes. There was no, real question about it. It was definitely something I feel like I had to do before it was too late. I couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, for sure. And so, when did you realize that you wanted to be a performer?
It wasn't until pretty late. I know, a lot of people in the business and a lot of my friends, they've been doing this for a really long time. And ever since they were kids, they've been doing it. I started even realizing this could ever be a career for me probably my second semester of junior year. So when I was already looking at colleges and what you were thinking about doing, for your college career, half of the schools I applied for were just half like liberal arts and the other half were conservatories. I had a teacher, his name is Robert Kennedy. I think he's still there at my old high school. Said, you can do this for a living. You're actually pretty good. And I always sang, but I never thought theater was kind of an option. Um, until I started auditioning for conservatories and I started getting in. So that was kind of um, a big push in that direction for me. I always, and I always say, and I've always been able to um, kind of, with being a musical theater artist, you're always, I feel like, go hand in hand with being a teacher and being, um, a mentor. So I think, that always goes hand in hand and something that I've always wanted to do. My parents are both teachers, so it's something that I feel like is in the blood for me.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I didn't start until I was already, thinking about going away for school. So it's, it's something that is possible and is, you don't have to be, dancing, since you were 3 years old to make it on Broadway. It's something that's very personal and we all get our calling at different times in life.
Yeah, for sure. And so, you trained at the University of the Arts, and so how did your experiences there help improve you to be the artist you are today?
Yeah, I Philly is such a great town. If you haven't visited, I feel like everyone should. They have such a huge um theater community and live performance community over there. I really love Philly and it's just an amazing town. I went to school right on Broad Street and on Broad Street you literally have maybe like it seems like 20 venues within a 3 block like radius. It's you know, a beautiful spot to cultivate your artistry and to explore and you know there's always something to see there. I think with my training for the University of Arts, they really pushed having people in the business be your teachers. And they pushed you as an individual. I know like some programs, they kind of want to, break you down to build you back up, where I feel like at UArts, they just looked at you as an individual and as an individual artist, which I really appreciated. But they were, I honestly, I have some of the best teachers there, and teachers that I still talk to this day.
Yeah, that's great. And so, you mentioned that Spamalot is like one of your big one of your more big shows. And so, what was your first experience with Spamalot, and how did that like make you realize that you wanted to be in that show?
Yeah. So when I was, when my teacher said, you could do this for a living, you should look up, this is when In the Heights was first on Broadway. And I was just on YouTube one day and I saw Sarah Ramirez's performances at the Tonys in 2005, and I was like, oh yeah, she can sing. She can sing real well. So I looked up the character, and it was just, yeah, it was kind of everything that I dreamed of ever doing. I was more of a classical singer at first. Um, so, hearing the song that goes like this, and then, going straight from song that goes like this into Find Your Grail, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I could do both in a matter of 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like it's was such a, they were such an inspiration to me, especially like I I come from a very musical family, so I never kind of saw myself of not having a space in in the arts. But just to see just to see Sarah in, a main leading lady role, that didn't happen a lot. And that was really, as 16-year-old me saying like, can I really do this, like, and make a living out of it? And I was like, well, they are. So
Yeah.
it was really inspirational to see.
Yeah, for sure. That's amazing. And so, what was your audition process like for the show?
So first, I did a video, and I did just a video submission. I was doing a lot of them, a lot of video submissions because I was working corporate at the time. So I had a job. And so I did a video, didn't hear anything. Um, and like a month later, I want to say like, yeah, 3 or 4 weeks later, I got another submission for another video. And I was like, I already did this a month ago. Maybe like something, a lot of people audition for these things. So, maybe just it got missed. So my agent resubmitted it. And then the next week I got a work session audition. Work session auditions are a little bit longer than regular auditions. So that one lasted about 30 minutes. Um, where they had me sing, for the good 30 minutes of the time, which, I was like, oh, this is a good sign. They had me come in the next week and they were like, oh, you just need to sing for Jeffrey. And I didn't know who Jeffrey was. And I was like, yeah, okay, Jeffrey. He ended up being the producer of the show. So he was the only other person, new person in my audition. And that audition lasted about 10 minutes. And I was like, oh God, I think I did something wrong. Like this one, this audition wasn't as long as the other one. Like, did I do something that, they didn't like? I only ran through each song once. And I was really kind of second guessing myself. And I got to work, and then my agent was like, oh, can you hop on a Zoom call? I need to give you some notes that they gave you from the audition. I'm like, why didn't they ask me in the room? Like, I'm thinking like, what? A Zoom call and like asking my agent for notes. That does not
Yeah,
happen.
that's
And
not no.
yeah, it was not normal. And so she just taught, and I'm at work. I'm literally at work in a like corporate building. And I was like, yeah, do you need something? Like, what were the notes? And she was like, oh no, I'm just kidding. I just want to tell you got it. And they have an offer for you. So it was a pretty short process.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the shorter processes I've ever been through. Um, but it was nice. It was quick, you know, a quick, easy, audition for my anxiety because I was like, oh
Yeah.
shoot, I screwed it up. But
It
and
doesn't
then,
give you much time to overthink stuff. So,
exactly, yeah.
yeah.
So I was like, okay, whew, they know like Amanda's anxiety is done for, at least the next year.
Yeah, for sure. And so, since the tour is just about to start in a couple of days, what tour stops are you most looking forward to in the upcoming months?
Ooh, so I've been to a lot of places in the US. But a couple of them that I'm really excited to go to. I'm excited to go back home. I'm going to Connecticut starting, we'll be in Hartford the 9th through the 14th. So I'm actually just staying home,
Nice.
um, which I'm really excited for. The last time I think I did a production at home was pre-COVID.
Wow.
I did a production of In the Heights in Westport, and that was the last time I've been home. So I'm really excited to just be home
Yeah.
for a week. Another place I'm really excited to go to um, is Colorado. I did a show in Colorado and I absolutely fell in love with it. And I'm really excited to go there. Um, and then I'm really excited to go to Vegas. I think we're in Vegas for a week. And that's just going to be fun just to be in warmth and hot.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, after, the foot of snow is just on the buildings here. I'm like, oh, I'm just excited to go just to the West Coast.
Yeah, I think you guys are coming to Chicago after we get all the snow, so you'll be back.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so not only so you also have like cruise ship experience. So like how has that helped you improve as an artist? Because that's a little different than being in one set venue.
Yeah, I loved being on cruise ships. I always say the time I was in cruise ships was at the very beginning of my career, and it kind of got me, um, a pretty good jump start into um, the lifestyle of being a musical theater artist. I loved being on a cruise ship. I you know, if you are young and just starting out your career, I think that is a great job to have. Um, it helped me because it helped me kind of open my eyes even more to realizing how big the world actually is. One thing about cruise ships is that the the entertainment portion, and especially the performers, you're the only Americans on the ship. So out of about 1,500 crew members, only 18 of you are American. So it's just a very, I want to say, like, a humbling experience of just realizing, like, wow, the world has so much to offer. Um, and I learned so much from so many different people and just talking to people. You know, it was really just comforting to see. And I speak Spanish, so I was a little bit more, I think, open to meeting new people. But when I was on the ship, I think none of the people I hung out with normally were the performers. I hung out with, you know, people from countries I never even heard of. And it was honestly the best thing I think I could have done for my career. And even, coming into adulthood, I think it was the best thing I could have ever done. Um, that being said, preparing me for like tour life and stuff like that, you learn how to pack light. You
Yeah.
learn how to be creative and innovative, and with things you can use that and multiple uses for one thing. I think cruise ships. I cannot say a bad word about my experience and what I learned on cruise ships. I think if you are young and you are just starting out your career, try to get a cruise ship contract because it's going to teach you a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so what advice would you give to your younger self?
um, I think something I'm still learning is that And something I have to remind myself constantly is that you are where you're supposed to be. Um, I think that with being an artist and with being a girl and being a girl in musical theater, um, you second guess yourself a lot, and it's a lot of like you feel a lot of imposter syndrome of like, you're waiting in an audition room and there's at that time, with an hour period, there's about, 20 girls that look exactly like you and 20 girls that probably can sing higher than you or, belt higher than you. And you get you get self conscious and you get kind of this imposter syndrome that I still, quite honestly, have to remind myself like, you are where you're supposed to be. You're, you are trained for this. Um, And yeah, that's something I think I still have to remind myself of.
Yeah, for sure. And so this next question kind of end up ties into the last one, but what advice would you give to younger performers who want to pursue acting as a profession?
Um, I think to get all the information, um, submerge yourself in all the information that you can, do your research, but be open minded. I think being an artist and being a young artist, you have to be a student first. Trust me, I'm still learning. I do not know everything. Um, I think as a young artist, you have to be able to be a student first. And I think that will be able to help you just be open minded and open hearted too, more importantly, um, to to what this is, to what musical theater is. It is, it'll hurt you, it'll love you, so I think you have to just be accepting of all of it.
Yeah, that's great. And so that actually wraps up the interview today. I'd like to thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really excited and I'm so happy you reached out.